Um, if I really look back at the time of the UPA government, and in fact, after the year 2000, we are 25 years into the 21st century. I was thinking, which are the milestones of foreign policy? Which are the milestones of foreign policy? Quite frankly, and I asked this government through you as to what foreign policy milestones have they been able to achieve since 2014. And I can't think of any. Whereas if you look at our time, the UPA time, as you know that India had never signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty called the NPT. And therefore we wanted that for alternative forms of energy, we should be entitled to produce electricity by setting up nuclear plants. But we could not do so because of the international regime, because we were excluded. We were denied that access because of the fact that we had not signed the NPT. But it was at the instance of our then foreign minister, of our then ambassadors, of the prime minister under the UPA government, that we were able to persuade President Bush to in fact make that exception. First time in the history of the world, since the new order was set up after the Second World War, this exception was made. It's not made for Pakistan even. That's a milestone in the history of this country in foreign policy. Of course, the mainstream media has forgotten it because their memory is very short. Their memory is only contemporary, how to support Modi ji. Right? That's your mainstream media. But I'm asking them, through you, as to what is it that they have achieved in terms of foreign policy. Look at the relationship between us and the United States of America. They have imposed the highest barriers on tariffs on us, 50%. Vietnam is 20%. All of the other countries in South Asia is less, wherever they have entered into agreements, whether it's Indonesia or others. 50% on us. That is the BRICS countries. They are targeting the BRICS countries. Why? And have you ever heard of President Trump talking in such a unpleasant fashion about any other leader of the world in the course of his press conferences? Like this, attributing matters to our foreign policy or our decision making, saying that it is because of him that in Pahalgam and the conflict that took place was stopped. Now, I don't believe him. I'm not saying that I believe him. And that the trade agreement could not be signed with the United States of America between May and July 2025. Sorry, last year, May and July, last year, not 2024.
5, sir.
5. Okay. May of 2025, because we were late. They gave us 3 weeks and they expected the Prime Minister to call him. I don't think that any President of the United States should expect the Prime Minister to call him for a trade deal. But anyway, if he has said so, there must be some response. But why are you not responding? And why should the President of the United States say such things about my country, my Prime Minister? He's my Prime Minister. Why should he say such things? Has he said it about the British Prime Minister, Japanese Prime Minister, President Putin, the Chinese leaders? No. Or any other country? No. He has misbehaved with Zelensky, yes. But other than that, I don't see. And why should this be done by my country and my Prime Minister? Now, I understand that in certain matters it's important to be silent. Because if you break your silence and you say something, it may have consequences on the country which you don't want. So it's in the national interest to remain silent. But at least tell my country and my people as to what you are doing. What are the problems in the trade deal, in the negotiations of the trade deal? Do they want the agricultural sector to be opened up completely? Do they want the dairy sector to be opened up completely? And if the country with whom we have the maximum exports, as it is, those exports have been, at least to the extent of 20 to 30%, have been affected. But US is the largest trading partner of India. And therefore, naturally, if any contradiction is done and President Trump doesn't like that contradiction, it may have impacts. And now that he has proposed that there will be a 500% tariff, if any of our entities or our government somehow directly or indirectly has access to Russian oil, then even a 500% tariff can be imposed. Now this is a threat to our economy. And I want to say this to the Prime Minister, that we stand by you. The country will stand by you. Nobody can threaten our sovereignty, our economic prosperity or economic sovereignty. Nobody can do that. We'll make the sacrifices that we have to make. But at least have the courage to say something. At least when you were in opposition, you had the courage to say everything. And now that you are in power, you have no courage to say anything. Is that fair to the people of this country? Is that fair to your image? You are what you say. What Purush is it? Vishwa Guru. Vishwa Guru. I wish you were a Guru. I really wish you were a Guru, but nobody recognizes you as a Guru. President Trump does not. Which leader in the world recognizes you as, I wish I were a Guru? Vishwa Guru. Nobody does. Why are we in this situation? Stand up, India. It's time to stand up to the rest of the world. We're a powerful people. We have a huge domestic consumption base. We will survive. We have survived because this government on the economic front has done nothing, yet we have achieved 6%. Not because of them, but because people buy. Why? Because they can't live otherwise. They'll have to buy clothes, they'll have to buy rations, they'll have to do something to earn money. That's how we are growing at 6%, not because of our dear finance minister, who I respect.
Mr. Sibal, possibly for the first time, a political consulting firm has been raided, and that too on a poll-bound state. How do you see that aspect of this entire?
Which is the ED is now the prevalent God. They can go anywhere they want. Because, God comes to us without any notice. That's what God does to us. No notice. So ED also goes without notice. CBI also goes without notice. Right? And that's the power that has been given by Vijay Madan Lal Chaudhary. And the Supreme Court has not yet decided the review petitions against that judgment, and years have passed, even though on 2 separate occasions these matters were partly heard. So if the court doesn't clarify the law, and these fellows run amok, right, like a wild horse, and if they go to iPAC for the purposes of coal scam, they should take access the documents to find out if there are any documents about coal scam. Ask them. And if they are, you can take them, but you can't take files of people. iPAC is an organization which is in fact managing the elections in West Bengal. This is only to disturb. But as far as the coal scam is concerned, you know for a fact, and the government at least knows, there's a original suit pending between the state of West Bengal and the Union of India on the exercise of power by the CBI. As you know, CBI can't enter a state without consent. But ED can enter any state without consent. Why? Because an FIR has been lodged. So if an FIR is lodged in tell me, I want to ask you through you, has the ED ever entered a state in which the BJP is in power? Since they came to power for the last 11 years, have they ever gone to any BJP state? Why? Because everything is kosher in BJP states. No corruption in BJP states. No allegations of corruption in BJP states. None. What about the center? No allegations of corruption in the center. So why has the ED not done anything? Why has the CBI not done anything? And if there's a case against any BJP-minded person who is an accused, they get bail. Others rot in jail. They get bail, others rot in jail. So the less said about these organizations, the better. Thank you.
Sir, have you noticed the one ED officer removed from Kerala, Radhakrishnan? He orchestrated all play against CM.
Well, you know, I can't talk about an individual case, but I've already said that they are targeting the present Chief Minister in Kerala also. They've lodged those cases. I've been fighting for them also.
For targeted in 2021. Now election is coming after.
Now it will start again. You see this. What happens is ना कि भाई कभी ऐसा होता है कि भाई कोई सो रहा हो. If somebody is asleep, then suddenly he wakes up. Look, I forgot for 10 years what I was doing. So I'm sorry. I must do it now because the election is on. That's what it is. Thank you.